All right. Let's move on to this big old story right here. Now, yesterday, it came out that a person who was doing the AstraZeneca study, apparently, AstraZeneca. I said Venica, my bad. AstraZeneca study for the COVID-19 vaccine died. And a lot of people said, well, he was taking the placebo. Now, some people have said that the placebo itself that they were supposedly using, it wasn't just like saline water, it was something else and could have had an adverse reaction. But I mean, totally safe. Everything's just so safe that, we have people dying of this. But you have to wonder if they're kind of, trying to push aside any of the side effects or people that might have an adverse reaction like death. The volunteer who died in a clinical trial of the Oxford University COVID-19 vaccine has been named as Dr. I'm going to mess up that first one, but Pedro Feltosa, the 28-year-old medic pictured in local media, was taking part in the AstraZeneca trial in Brazil and was not given the vaccine, but a benign placebo. It has been revealed tonight. It is reported Dr. Petrosa died from complications from coronavirus while taking part in the trial of the potential vaccine. But the pharmaceutical giant would not comment on his death. So odd. 28 years old. Looks pretty healthy. Not sure if he'd have any pre-existing conditions. He somehow dies of the virus while taking part in a study. Just a lot of questions here. A lot of questions. You look at, for instance, the vaccine trials with Moderna and them having to admit that 80% of people had, side effects. And a lot of those side effects are a lot like the effects of the virus, they tell us. Look, day-long exhaustion, fever, headaches, but it's totally worth it. Body aches, okay? I mean, both in the Moderna and the Pfizer one. And when Bill Gates gets called on this, he's like, sometimes it's a little pain, those side effects. And she's like, well, 100% of the people had those side effects that took the hot dose, the second one, because this is a double vaccine. Twice. Yeah. How about no mas? How about no thank you? How about I don't need to take a vaccine or a medication that has symptoms a lot like the ones that the virus has? Why would I do that? And if you're not suspect of an under 30-year-old male dying during these trials, and then them trying to sell you on the placebo version and saying that he got coronavirus and died from complications, when we know 100% right now that what? You can get remdesivir. It's an approved therapy. You can get dextromethasone. It's an approved therapy, right? We can't talk about HCQ because can't talk about hydroxychloroquine or zinc or zithromax because, those still haven't been endorsed by the World Health Organizations, but there are doctors that are prescribing them. We should point that out. We're not an authoritative source, though. We're not recommending them. We're just saying that's out there. Then you look at the vitamin C, the vitamin D, the other steroid treatments out there. But this guy died. Pretty whack. Pretty wacky how that works, huh? And no one's challenging the narrative. And believe me, this story is kind of making its way around even outside of the mainstream. But those pro-lockdown folks, those people that just want to believe everything Bill Gates has to say, they're going to jump through mental hoops and say, well, I'm still going to roll my arm up. I'm going to do my part. I'm going to listen to Bill Gates, who's warning that climate change could be worse than the coronavirus. What? Yeah, these people aren't opportunists. This was back in August, and we pointed out that this is the globalist agenda. This is about a track, trace, database system. This is about empowering the World Health Organization, the United Nations, and global governance in general. This is about eviscerating the Constitution and Bill of Rights, putting you on the dole. The old doley dole. Get into that universal basic income. Eviscerate the middle class. Lock them down. Lock them down. Mask up. Mask up, right, Bill? I wonder how many times Bill Gates has worn a mask. It's not like you see him wearing it in public, right? And again, those mental gymnastics, we've played the clip of the World Health Organization individual chatting it up, talking it up, and saying, yeah, they're really good at making poor people a lot poorer. Yeah, we might double the world's, poverty rate. We might do that. Global poverty, that might double. Child malnourishment, that might more than double because of this in the lockdowns, huh? And of course, Chris Cuomo, okay, Mr. Mask Up himself, the right-hand man of his brother, Andrew Capo Cuomo, Mr. Executive Order, okay, Andy Authoritarian. And this is also the guy, remember, Chris Cuomo is the one that told you that you weren't legally allowed to look at the WikiLeaks documents. That's for him and his buddies to look at, and they'll decide what you get to know, right? Just like, I already got the disease. I'm masked up. Tucker Carlson did a big piece on this. But what he was doing a piece on is the fact that his apartment building wants to fine him because they see him walking around without a mask all the time because he's a huge hypocrite. Okay? He's a huge hypocrite. That's what take a good look. Here. Let's get in on that face. I want to get out of the way. Take a good look. This is your boss. This guy. Take a look. There he is. He's the authoritarian. He gets to decide. Yeah, but do as we say, not as we do. Nancy Pelosi going to get her hair done. I'll take my mask off. Yeah, really, I had to wear my mask in South Dakota, no less, when I got my hair cut, Nancy, because you put the fear of God into people with all these, policies that have no proof whatsoever in science, and we'll just ignore, once again, the World Health Organization official, again, no fan of the organization, who clearly is telling you to stop locking things down. We'll just ignore it, right? We'll just ignore that Andrew Cuomo has the highest death rate in the country, if not the world, per capita, right? We'll just ignore that he really did put people back into nursing homes, right? We'll just ignore that there were so many bodies that, they did have to go to Hart Island. We'll just ignore that not only didn't he use the ship, he didn't use the Javits Center where these people could have gone and gotten treatment. We're just going to ignore that he banned hydroxychloroquine after, these studies came out where they only treated the sickest of the sick because the policy in New York was go home and take some aspirin. But he's writing books. He's America's governor. Give me a break. Makes me sick. Makes me ill. And again, it's all part of this automation nation, universal basic income. You're a human being, but you're really a virus. You're really a useless eater. We really don't need you much anymore. Take what we give you. And while you take it, you're also going to be under our authoritarian control, and we won't give what we say we're going to give you unless you have the right vaccine. Unless you jump through all these medical martial law hoops, right? Unless you let us invade your life even further. Unless you let us have a social credit score eventually. Because we want to move away from filthy cash. It's a virus like human beings, right? Basically the same thing. So check it out. And again, they slickly tried to sell this to you with Andrew Yang and the Yang Gang and popularize it in the United States. But they're right. Automation is coming. This is not the answer. Wales Future Generation Commissioner Sophie Howe has published a manifesto ahead of May's Senate election, setting out policies she would like the next administration to adopt. An emphasis on green policies is also on our list of suggestions. It's all about green, right? Why? So they have control of your entire life. Oh no, you can't use that much CO2. You can't have that much garbage. It's time to downsize. If you do, you'll have to pay higher taxes. Your carbon footprint's too much, right? She called on politicians to be brave and start making radical changes. That's bravery. Okay. On May 6th, voters are due ahead of the polls to vote for their representatives in Welsh Parliament. Okay? And you know what she wants. She wants a low-carbon future. That has to be a future where we question, is our economic model right? Don't you get it? Universal basic incomes, social credit scores, digital currency, track, trace, database, everything. Demonize you as a human being. That's what this is. That's what this is. That's what this has always been. Okay?